All right, so we got some film, some web. So let's talk about this whole film web thing, which is going to get me into trouble right from the beginning. Okay. I'll be honest with you. I watched your film. I liked your film. But I thought the web thing was kind of way cooler.
Way better, yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, we started the web series after we did the film. So we were just becoming better filmmakers as we were doing the web series. So to me, 1 through 8 was better than the film, but then 9 through 13, which was the final edition, I think blew everything that we'd done in the past out of the water. Because that's where we were really making art again and not advertisements for art that were just happened to be better than the film that we had made. So.
And was it nice to create stuff just specifically for the web?
Yeah. Well,
Brand new stuff?
It was nice to make, well, it was nice to make new stuff for sure. And it was nice to make things that were in a short format. I don't think I necessarily thought about whether they were for the web or not. Because I didn't think like, oh, they're for the web, I can make them not look good. Like it was like, we're still making something that's good.
No, I mean, all the comments that were on some of these other FilmFellas episodes are talking about, you know, if I make it for the theater, it can't be played on the web. Right. You know, it was meant for a theater. I'm like, okay, let's step back a second here. Hollywood looks at this as a business, okay? They make a movie, it goes on the movie screen, it goes on an airplane screen, it goes on a TV screen, it goes on a telephone, it goes on the web. They don't seem to have these high and mighty principles that I make a movie, I'm David Lean, it can only be on a movie theater, the end.
I have friends that work for like bigger stuff, you know, they're cinematographers, and like even stuff that's being made for the web, they shoot in the highest quality they can shoot in because they all see everything becoming, well, first of all, the internet's going to become like much bigger band, and you're going to be able to see much higher quality things, and that's what people are going to see. That's going to become the standard.
Yeah, it's like those all the news, you know, studios that had to redo all the news desks and everything once they started shooting on HD because they were like, oh, this actually looks.
You know, that's a good point, because that happened when they went from, I mean, okay, this is going to date myself a little bit, but when they went from black and white to
color.
To color, and Jens and I always laughed because when we were little kids, we had a black and white TV and it said in color. I'm like, where's the color? You know, the neighbor had a color TV, and they had to redo all these shows in midstream. Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
You're making art. You're going to make it look as best you can. I mean, why would somebody? You don't shoot for the web. You shoot to shoot.
Yeah, I shoot to shoot, but the short format does make a difference, because when the running time is 80 or 90 minutes, there's a different sort of rhythm and pace to the work than when you're making something 5 minutes. Yeah. So that's been the main difference for me, shooting a feature versus shooting a web show.
You're making a feature.
The pacing.
Yeah.
The web shows are a lot quicker, the editing's quicker, the storylines have to sort of happen.
But I wasn't getting into that. The whole point is
technically they're identical.
Yeah, if you're making a movie, you're making a movie.
Yeah, but don't you feel like also when we know something's going to be on the web, we're shooting a little bit closer, and we're not doing so many wide shots because we realize that people are going to be watching on a smaller screen.
That's a good point. I do think about something.
No, I am not thinking about that, but that's interesting.
The LCD screen is actually a nice sort of 2.5-inch representation of maybe how big the web thing is going to be. So I do, when I'm shooting for the web, I do sometimes think about, this is as big as a lot of people are going to see it. Is all the information coming through?
That's interesting. Although yesterday Jens pulled up one of our videos on his cell phone, and I was like, my God, you can see the smallest little type even on the people's T-shirt. The resolution was good. Yeah. You know, okay, I understand. We're going to get a lot of flack from people. Of course, you want to be in a movie theater. That's a given. Yeah. But not that many people get that opportunity. Right. Okay, and there's no shame. Yeah. There's this guy, I've talked about him a couple times. This guy named Joe Simon who makes these wedding videos. This guy is making art. What's important to us? You know, what are you making? Are you making art? And why do you do what you do?
Basically because sometimes you have an idea and you just feel like you'd be a complete dirtbag if you didn't execute it. It's just, you feel like you have an idea that's so good that to be lazy and not do it would be a tremendous failure.
That's interesting. It wasn't really what I was even thinking about when I said why you. When I said why do you do what you do, I thought more like, why is it that you're doing in this industry? But that's a cool answer.
It's a little meta.
Well, no, but okay, that's
I don't know if mine is much different. I mean, I think that at this point, filmmaking is a compulsion for me. You know, I can't not do it now. So every day I'm.
But why do you do this? I mean, what are you doing it for?
That's what I don't have a good answer anymore. It's not for money. I've realized that. I mean, money is nice.
Okay, but one day you want to make a living at it, right?
Well, I'm sort of starting to. It's happening incrementally. I think when I was younger, the idea was you would make a film, you would sell it, you would make a ton of money, and then you could make movies for your living, you know? And now it was like, no, you do a day job, you do web design. I worked at a film festival, I did all these sort of things. In my spare time, that's when I make the films and the web shows. Last year was the first year where it seemed really conceivable that without changing what I'm doing, they're starting to bring in enough money, and hopefully 2009 will show that a little bit more, and then maybe in 3 or 4 years, I will be making a full living, I won't be in debt, and I would never have had to change the style of filmmaking or the way that I do it.
And I think ultimately once you have an idea or a vision, the idea is to execute it as best you can, especially now knowing that you're not going to make $1 million on your first or second film, knowing that it really is about making something that you can be proud of. It's got to look great. It's got to be exactly how you want it to be.
Exactly.
And you answer to yourself. I mean, you're thinking about this now as you're cutting your feature that you just finished shooting.
Yeah.
It's like, are you cutting it? You're not cutting it for a sale or distribution, just so that you like it.
Yeah, and I was telling Susan, I also make ice cream as part of, that's also what I do besides make films. And I know that's a whole nother story. Yeah. But it's sort of like, I make these flavors, and it's not, I just make them because I really like eating them. I would never make a flavor of ice cream that I didn't like. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, because the public liked it. You know, like somebody told me, oh, you should make a really good vanilla, you know? But like, that's not really fun for me, so I'll never ever do that, you know? And it's the same with filmmaking, you know? I mean, whatever. I made a movie that maybe no one else will like, who knows? But I really love it, so it was really satisfying for me.
I have no film school, okay. Right. Do you have film school?
I did go to film school.
You went to film school?
Yeah.
That's where we met.
Okay, so you have film school. I mean, I personally don't want to diss school, because I think there are different routes for everyone. Yeah. People who know me know I am very anti-school.
We went to a very different kind of film school, though. It was not like an NYU or a USC. It was Southern Illinois University, where we were really taught and encouraged to be independent filmmakers and to constantly be working with cameras and making mistakes. And,
that's great.
It has absolutely influenced the kind of work that I'm doing now. So.
I feel like I used to know so many kids that would come out of NYU and they were like dead against digital film. They were like, oh, it has to be shot on film. I mean, this was like a few years ago, but it was just the craziest notion, and I'm like, you got that at school. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think it really informs independent filmmaking, the way that we learned it, you know? I mean, I think that there's a really big difference now than it used to be, where people were trained in one skill. They were trained to be cinematographers, and now, you know, going on a shoot where everybody was trained to do everything, you're able to be more collaborative, and I think that that's really a reason why we're able to make stuff that's so collaborative.
My background is very different than all of yours. How do I phrase this?
You're a professional.
No. No, actually, I was going to say that I prostituted myself to clients where you do not.
But I think all of us have done that. We've all done those kind of jobs to make money.
In the corporate.
Yeah, I definitely have.
Okay, yeah.
I make corporate work, but I don't.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's what I did. I mean, and you know, after a certain period of time, you kind of say you can't take it anymore. But on the other side of the coin, what disturbs me is that a lot of these young people, they get a camera and they're like, they go make this first film, and they haven't made the 700 million mistakes that by 2020 you're going to have made. When, you know, it's kind of important for me to know that filmmakers are somehow doing weddings or corporate production or commercials or something, because every single time you do something, you learn.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you got to your latter episodes there, now all of a sudden they were getting, because you guys had your whole little production skill down. You also had done one of the things that I recommend to a lot of people, which is like rehearsals. I mean, your first film was a rehearsal to your first set of episodes, and then your second set of episodes was, your cast was in place when, it's like watching the first season of Seinfeld. It's terrible.
Aaron had a lot of experience with making video for clients before we made Four-Eyed Monsters. You know, wedding videos, videos for corporate clients, videos just for you know, bands and stuff like that. But making Four-Eyed Monsters, like, we'd never done anything narrative before. That was really challenging. I mean, it was like reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, you can make all the wedding videos in the world, and it's not, I mean, it'll help you learn camera work, but maybe not to tell.
How to tell a story.
It does actually. I would disagree with you on that. This guy that I was talking about earlier, this Joe Simon, you look at his videos and it's like you're, actually the very first one I saw, I showed it to my wife and I was like, check this out. I said, she goes, yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a nice movie. I said, that's somebody's wedding.
That's amazing.
And she had to sort of step back and go, oh, it is a wedding video. It's so cool how he presents the whole thing. It feels like a movie.
Yeah.
And that is sort of a magical time. So I say it can be a form of entertainment.
So you think skip film school, make wedding videos?
I didn't say that, but